Volunteer Nation is alive and well on Rocky Top as Tennessee's hometown crowd gets ready to face their newest foe, the Memphis Tigers. It's an in-state rivalry that's getting hotter by the minute. Bruce Pearl and John Calipari, they're smiling now. We'll see if they will be in about 2 hours, and we'll see if they will be over the next year in their recruiting. We bring you to Thompson Bowling Arena, Knoxville, Tennessee. It's Conference USA against the SEC. The 17th ranked Tigers against the Volunteers of Tennessee on their home floor. Welcome, everybody. I'm Brad Nessler along with Jimmy Dykes. No matter how much, partner, these two coaches have tried to downplay this rivalry over the last 3 or 4 days, seems like it gets hotter every hour.
You look at the great in-state rivalries right now, Brad, in college basketball. Duke, Carolina, Cincinnati, Xavier, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. This thing's going to be mentioned in that same conversation quicker rather than later, because these two guys, they mirror each other. They're competitive. They're ace recruiters. They're slick guys as coaches, and this thing's only going to get hotter after the newspaper the last couple of days.
They both won their conference crowns a year ago, too. The SEC East for the Volunteers and Conference USA for John Calipari's Tigers. Take a look at our Star Watch. A newcomer against a junior that's one of the best in the country.
Willie Kemp, a major recruiting battle between these two schools. John Calipari won his first true road game. We've got a lot of pressure on him tonight for Chris Lofton, an outstanding three-point shooter. You better be on his toes when he catches it.
Take a look at the starting lineups. Willie Kemp and Wayne Chisholm played at the same high school, Bolivar, Tennessee. And coming into the game, Duke Cruz would normally start for Chisholm. He went to Coach Pearl and said, you know what, Willie Kemp gets all the love from that hometown. Wayne doesn't get enough. Coach, why don't you start him? And that's what's going to happen. That might show you a little bit about the Tennessee basketball team as well. The Vols last year went 22-8. They won the SEC East at 12-4 when they were picked to finish 5th out of the 6 teams on their side. They were the surprise team in college basketball last year. Meanwhile, John Calipari in Memphis won a school record 33 games, were a #1 seed, and went all the way to the Elite 8 before they lost to UCLA in the Oakland Regional Final. So not only recruiting rights, bragging rights for the state, but two very good basketball teams set to do battle, Jimmy.
Well, I think this is what's really at stake tonight, though, Brad. It's a resume win for whichever club walks out of here in a couple of hours. And it's also a confidence win early in the year. December the 5th or 6th, you want to be able to hang your hat as a head coach on what you've done so far. This would be a confident win for either Tennessee or Memphis.
Tennessee, a team that swept the NIT champion, Gamecocks of South Carolina, and they swept the national champion Florida Gators last year. That was part of their resume, and that's why they got the great seed they had under that guy in his first year. Now in his second season, and he could run for mayor. I don't know if he can run for governor, but he's pretty big around here already. In an arena that has been dominated by Pat Summitt, and now Bruce Pearl's got him thinking men's basketball. There's about 20,000 on hand tonight. J.D. Caldwell, Tom Eads, and Mike Thibodeau are our officials, and we are set for the Tigers and the Volunteers, each with 6 wins. And number 7, as Jimmy said, would be a big one. Here we go. Tigers will control the opening 10.
I think the game is maybe even more important for Memphis when you consider once they get to conference play, knocking off ranked teams and RPI wins are just not available for them. Tennessee has that built in playing in the SEC.
Memphis' only loss was to Georgia Tech when they had a 19-point lead, up 16 at halftime, and let it melt away out in Hawaii. And the opening foul of the ball game is going to be on Joey Dorsey, and he's their big guy inside. Great shot blocker for John Calipari. And now the Vols are going to get a little taste of their own medicine, some full court pressure right off the get-go.
And off the get-go, Memphis is going to pancake the point guard, Howell. 2 guards chase him early, trying to discourage the touch.
Here he is, Jordan Howland. He got it down court on a nice pass inside. Short arm shot, though. Missed in close. So Chisholm, the freshman, missed the opening shot. Anderson, the kick out to Dozier. He gets it right back. Going against Bradshaw. Up and over. And the rebound. Loose ball comes out to Tennessee. Jawan Smith. Bradshaw 3. Halfway down. Came back out. And now Douglas Roberts running for the Tigers.
You're going to see a lot of shots in this ball game after 1 or 2 passes. Quick trigger team.
Kemp, a floater. And it's tipped in. I think they're going to give that probably to Dozier.
You think about Tennessee's starting lineup. Bradshaw, the 4 guy, is only 6'4". Memphis will have some offensive rebound opportunities early because of it.
Bruce Pearl working the officials already in a 5-second call as Bradshaw was trying to get a timeout call and didn't get it in time. So the first turnover of the ball game goes against Tennessee. They're used to forcing turnovers. They force about 24 a game. They average about 18 of their own. There's Antonio Anderson now on top.
Tennessee in man-to-man defense. I think you'll see some different looks out of these guys though as the ball game progresses.
Anderson knocks down a 3, his 9th three-pointer of the season. It's a 5-0 start for Memphis on the road.
Well, look at Memphis chase that basketball up the sidelines. They just constantly try to harass you and bother you defensively.
Open look, 3 on the way, and down it goes for Juwan Smith.
Brandon, it came out of their flex cut offense along the baseline, and anytime a shooter gets involved in that flex movement, difficult to defend.
Tennessee led the SEC in scoring, 3-pointers, assists, and came just too shy of their school record in 3-pointers. And now a whistle and a foul underneath. And whoa, we got a technical right away. And the officials are going to keep a handle on this from the very start. And let's see who the T is on.
I don't know if they caught Dorsey or Chisholm over the back.
Juwan Smith and Dorsey were the 2 guys doing the talking. And Dorsey still talking to one of the officials. We still don't have an official announcement yet if this is going both ways. Personal foul on Juwan Smith. And I believe it's a double technical on both of those players at the altercation on the inside.
We've already talked about how this rivalry is heating up in a hurry. You watch both teams today in shoot-arounds, and they could not wait till a 9 o'clock local tip for this thing to take place. You got Memphis kids that played against Tennessee through high school. There's been recruiting battles for guys like Willie Kemp on this floor. You got 2 premier guys on the sidelines that absolutely do not understand backing down from any kind of a challenge, either coaching or in the recruiting trail. You better get on top of this game early, officiating-wise.
I think they did a nice job of that right there. So Dorsey will go to the free throw line. And Dorsey, who's not that great a free throw shooter, knocks it down for his first point of the ball game. So both those players, Smith and Dorsey, each have a personal foul and a technical foul in the opening 2 minutes and 9 seconds.
And with this kid right here at the free throw stripe, when he gives it the gas on every possession, he's about as good as there is, certainly in Conference USA, to handle. A load at that low block, and he's bringing the effort.
Missed the second, and the rebound comes off to Howell. Josh Tabb in the lineup for Tennessee early. Lofton has yet to touch the ball.
Both teams love to drive for others. Penetrate and pitch. Draw and dish for those open 3-point looks.
Tabb kicks out. Bradshaw had an open shot. He's going to take it. That's the second time he's had one almost go down from 3-point range. Kemp. They move it inside. Back in to Dorsey. Nice job defensively by Tennessee, and they'll come up with a turnover.
Tennessee awfully good on film, baiting you into what looks like an open passing lane, then the anticipation to step in and get steals. Both these clubs, thieves on the defensive end with their hands and eyes.
Lofton trying to run the baseline. Kemp is staying with him. He comes around a pick, got an open, and up and down. Almost got an open look from 3. Tried to keep his left foot down and turns it over.
But you see what they did to Lofton on the catch. They were standing on his toes. Not physically, but mentally, that's exactly where they planted him. And Bruce Pearl knows that the scouting report on Lofton, he struggles to get shots off against guys that are all over him, and that's exactly what Memphis will do to him tonight.
Douglas Roberts on the outside. From the elbow, Dozier can't connect, and Lofton comes out of the pile. Lofton jump stop, 17-footer, buried it.
And that's something he couldn't do or didn't do a lot of the first couple of years, but he's improved that part of his game. Still his strength as a spot-up shooter.
Cuts the Memphis lead to 1.
Memphis loves to spread you out. 4 guys 5 or 6 feet around that three-point lane and 1 guy inside.
And here's a steal by Tad. Chance for Tennessee to take the lead for the first time. Bradshaw backpedals, fires a 3, and it's short. And the ball comes free for the Tigers.
The shot was short because he actually shot it as he was still backing up to get behind the three-point line. Had he ran to that spot to begin with, he probably would have knocked it down. He's that good of a shooter.
Douglas Roberts, nice drive, and he finished it. Chris Douglas Roberts, a sophomore out of Detroit, on a runner, gives Memphis again the 3-point lead. All the way up and under with the left hand. Nice move by Ramar Smith, another freshman. He's going to go to the free throw line after our timeout. Early in the ball game, a little friction, not only from the crowd and the walk-in through the student section, but we also had a couple of technicals early. 8-5 Memphis.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Subway Restaurants. 8 delicious subs with 6 grams of fat or less. Subway, eat fresh.
8-5 early. Memphis leading Tennessee on the road. This is the 18th meeting between these two teams. There was a stretch where they played 14 straight years against each other. Then there was a 4-year hiatus. And then it started again last year. Memphis defeating Tennessee 88-79. That was at FedEx Forum in Memphis. And this is the second of a 10-year deal now. Part of it was put together, I think, because of Memphis and Tennessee in football. And with all due respect to Tommy West and Phil Fulmer, I think this is going to be the better of the rivalries between the two sports.
Yeah, and the more important one. And look at what this game did last year for Memphis. I mean, because they beat Tennessee, when it got to March, they said, now wait a minute, look at our resume. Look at some of these wins we had back in the early season. And Memphis trots out there with an Elite 8 finish and a #1 seed behind them because of playing a game like this.
Josh Tabb at the free throw line, another one of the freshmen, newcomers, a great defensive player out of Carbondale, Illinois. And he got them both. Full court pressure now. And need a little help in the backcourt. Yeah. Nice job defensively. Andre Allen has to call timeouts. Tennessee back to within a point. Their full court pressure paying off.
Memphis up 1 early, and both clubs so far in their press defense, Brad, they have pancaked the point guard. And what I mean by that, there's the ball out of bounds. There's the offensive guy you're trying to throw it to, the point guard. You bring your guy off the ball, and you put him in a face guarding position, and then another defender behind, and you just pancake that guy and make it very difficult. There's the pancake. You can order it up for breakfast, or you can bring it to the basketball floor, and that's what the defenses are doing right now in this part of the ball game.
And Dre Allen had to call a timeout because of that stack of cakes. Memphis by 1. They've led throughout by as many as 5. Allen, the veteran, trying to go in, and Ryan Childress is going to foul him on the inside.
As I was talking about on that chalkboard, Brad, you pancake the primary ball handler. Look at him stacked up right there. And then you can kind of play games with him, but you show an initial pancake stack, and then boom, bad things happen to you. You struggle getting it in. You get the point guard turned around. You got to call a timeout.
Nice job defensively on the inbound play. Tennessee defensively. And what a shot by Douglas Roberts from the outside.
This has a knack for scoring.
He's got 5. And a hanger. Talk about a knack for scoring. Chris Lofton hanging in the air and one hands it in. He's got 4.
And it's important that he makes 3 or 4 of those baskets a game because, again, clubs are really going to double him up, coming off of ball screens, and he's got to do something else besides shoot 3-pointers this year.
Lofton trying to stay with Douglas Roberts. Ball loose. He gets it back. Still can't get it. And now coming out of the pile, Josh Tabb. Lofton for 3. Got it!
Now, he can still do that. He can go get a tough two on you.
Tennessee's first lead on Chris Lofton's 31st three-pointer of the year.
You've got to tag him in transition. Run with a purpose and find shooters.
Dozier had it blocked. And it's out of bounds to Memphis. Tennessee 5 straight points, and all 5 Chris Lofton.
Learning to get a tough two with a ball fake. You respect his jump shot, and he goes inside. But then in transition, in a scramble-type situation, you better run with him. You better tag him and be there on the catch. If not, bottom of the net.
5 straight for number 5. And Tennessee in front by 1. And they've got the crowd in it now for the first time. Long three. Way outside for Jeremy Hunt, who right now is maybe playing as well as anybody, even though he's not a starter for the Tigers. Missed shot on a runner by Jamar Smith. And now the other way. Memphis can't score. Second chance for Anderson underneath. Partially blocked, and Tennessee's got it back in a foul. And it's going to be out of frustration by Antonio Anderson, who had a couple of cracks at it and couldn't score.
This is Memphis's first true road game of the year. And every year, coaches worry about that on their calendar. They have it marked. It might be game 4. It might be game 8. How do you respond? And that's what Memphis has right now in front of them.
Lamar Smith now at the points. Duke Cruz in the lineup. As Bruce Pearl's gone to his bench, Chris Lofton is on the bench right now. And Juwan Smith turned it over. Juwan Smith with the turnover. Well, the future stars of basketball coming up tomorrow on ESPN2. Nolan Smith leads number 1 ranked Oak Hill Academy against the number 2 ranked Blue Devils of Norcross, Georgia. Old Spice High School Showcase presented by Nike on ESPN2 Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And Norcross not only had a great season in football that has just ended with the playoffs around the corner, but they've got a great basketball team as well with a lot of recruits that are heading in different directions.
And in your neck of the woods, isn't it, partner?
Yep. Allen, nice drive in the paint. Right now, Memphis is getting some looks in close. They just can't get it to drop. And Hunt through a double team. Mack with a 3. Rebound comes off to Tennessee.
Well, and that's their style. Drive and kick.
Ramar Smith, one-hand dish. It was a good-looking pass, but it's a turnover nonetheless. And this is what we expected, Jimmy. Just get out here on I-75 and run.
Which team hits the brakes first to slow it down just a little? Something to keep an eye on in this ball game.
Low post move. We haven't seen one of those from Tennessee. They've been firing from the outside, and they come away empty again. Bradshaw and Howell will check back in for the Volunteers. They lead by 1. We're almost 8 minutes into the ball game. There's Chris Lofton on the left, getting a breather and a quick drink with 7 points to lead all scorers right now.
Watch Memphis on film and talk to coaches that have played these guys this year. They feel like if you press Memphis, it plays right into their hands. They want to go fast naturally. You don't want them going fast.
Hunt had one rattle out. Howell with the rebound for Tennessee. Howell doesn't score a lot, but since he's started at the point, the turnovers are down about 5 a game. Double team down on the low block. Tough shot on the turnaround by Chisholm. Now it comes to the outside for 3. Josh Tabb couldn't connect, and back come the Tigers. Allen drives all the way, and he's fouled en route. Going to call a foul on Jordan Howell. So Memphis led by as many as 5 early, but Chris Lofton turns things around with 5 straight points, and it's evolved by 1. Tennessee by 1 with 11:17 to go in what has become a little bit of a grudge match, especially in the media over the course of the last week or so. And Bruce Pearl, Tennessee's coach, talked with us about it.
I think that there may have been a time when this was a all-lose situation for Memphis, in the sense that they're supposed to be Tennessee badly every year. Tennessee actually holds the all-time advantage in the series, 10-7. It's just that with Coach Cal being there recently, he's been awfully tough to beat. We were 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. They beat us at Memphis, had one of the biggest crowds of the year, and that victory helped their seeding as it relates to the NCAA tournament. It's a big game for fans. The student athletes like to play. I do think it's a game that we should continue to play, and I think the fact that maybe Memphis doesn't want to play the game or keep the series is because I don't think they respect us.
So those are the words of Bruce Pearl. And then John Calipari came back with the response. I'm not trying to create any kind of animosity or hatred. I don't make accusations, because when the players figured out it's about ego for the coach, they won't play for him. We respect their program. We respect their coach. So there's kind of some undertones. You know, they're trying to keep it a little bit low-key. What Bruce Pearl also did say earlier when he added to that comment, he said, if there's a team in the country that doesn't have any respect for us, it's Memphis. But then what they cut off was, part of his response was, we haven't earned their respect because we haven't beaten them lately. So that's a little different story.
And you know what else Bruce Pearl accomplished with that statement? Excitement, enthusiasm about this ball game and about his program. Now, I say that because a 70-year-old grandmother today on the elevator told me, I'm here in town to watch my granddaughter's Christmas recital. If she's not on stage by 9 o'clock, I'm out of there to go watch that basketball game. That's what statements do for you like that when you're building a program.
Well, I was in a cab today, and they said, it's a basketball game tonight, right? And I said, yes. And they said, the guys are playing, aren't they? Now, normally, they didn't pay attention to the guys. They only worried when the girls were playing. When the women were playing at Tennessee, it was a big deal. Now it's a big deal for either the men or the women. Allen finally, after missing a couple of free throws, keeps working at it and scores with a left hand on the inside. And Memphis regains the lead by 1. Neither team shooting well at all. Memphis right now is 4 out of 20. Tennessee 4 out of 11. So that's about 20% and about 36%.
They're playing so fast, going back and forth. Once they get to a shot opportunity, they have to physically and mentally slow down about a half a step, and those shots will start falling.
Here's Howell for an open 3, and he got it. Gordon Howell.
Ready, took his time, measured it, got that shot pocket ready, let it fly.
Tennessee with a 2-point lead, almost the midway point of the first half. Memphis comes right back, doesn't waste any shot clock. Missed a 3 of their own, and the rebound comes off to Tony Pasley. So this is the SEC against Conference USA as we're past the midway point of the first half. With Jimmy Dykes, I'm Brad Nessler. We're at Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee's home floor. There's about 20,000 on hand for the matchup with Memphis and the Volunteers. Each team with 6 wins on the season. Bradshaw misses a turnaround jumper, and it goes out of bounds. And they're going to call Memphis getting. Did Memphis get a timeout call? They're going to just call it off Tennessee. And now there'll be full court pressure from the Vols again.
It's a different look. They go with size on the out-of-bounds guy, and that says there's a trap coming in the corner.
Kemp gets it ahead to Hunt. And Hunt's going to take it all the way himself off the glass. Great drive by Jeremy Hunt. Averaging about 13 points a ball game. A senior out of Memphis. Didn't play last year. Had a lot of off-the-field issues. Actually graduated, got his undergraduate degree, and went back to Coach Calipari. Okay, Wayne Chisholm knocks down a 3.
And it actually made Bruce Pearl mad because his offense not fluid at all right now.
Robert Dozier scores on a slam inside. Tennessee by 1.
That play is by design for Memphis. They push that ball, get it big on the opposite block, and just throw it up to the opposite side on you.
Whistle and a foul away from the ball. It'll be on Robert Dozier, who just got that last slam on the other end offensively.
And you've really got to run with a purpose both ways in this ball game tonight. You see the penetration of the blue jersey, and the penetration was designed to draw the defense over, not to get a shot, just throw it to the weak side of the rim. That's built into Memphis's attack.
Bradshaw. No-look pass over to the corner. And the tip in by Duke Cruz.
He went to the opposite side of where the shot came from. This is a true freshman that really understands the game when the ball's above the rim.
Kemp was camping for a 3, but he lost the handle. He'll back it out again.
efficient offense.
Hunt from way downtown. Rebound comes off Ramar Smith. And Ramar will bring it himself, the left-hander. Bradshaw tried to scoop a pass through the traffic. Actually got it in there, and it got rejected by Robert Dozier. Hunt pops a three and misses. Going to be an over-the-back call, I think, on Douglas Roberts. If so, that'll be his first foul of the ball game. Tennessee has matched its biggest advantage. They lead by 3.
Ty Adolph Rupp for second on the all-time wins list. Texas Tech taking on Louisiana Tech. Nice feed, Daryl Dora to Jarius Jackson. Just a 3-point lead, though, for the Generals guys. And here you see the men's all-time wins list. He'd be 3 behind Dean Smith with the victory in this one. Brad?
Well, the Dean only 3 up on Coach Knight, who's got the lead tonight. Dave will keep posted on it. I know Hubert's with Dave, or was earlier in the ball game. When you look at Tennessee's resume, their only losses in their 6-2 season so far. They lost back-to-back games the week of Thanksgiving to North Carolina and Butler. Now that's not bad. You lose to North Carolina, and Butler's 10-0.
That's one of those non-BCS schools, Butler, that you now have to look at and say, if you do beat a Butler, that's a good win for us no matter what league you're coming out of.
Butler beat Ball State tonight, or at least had a humongous lead with about a minute and a half to go the last time they had a score, so I know that one's over. Tennessee with a 3-point lead here. Nice ball movement and a follow again by Duke Cruz.
Talked about as a true freshman, he really plays well with the ball above the rim. He understands angles, he understands where the ball's going to come off, and he's there a majority of the time waiting on it.
He was voted the preseason newcomer of the year in the SEC. Duke Cruz, 4 points off the Tennessee bench. Would have been a starter, but again, he gave up that spot to his teammate Wayne Chisholm tonight because Chisholm and Willie Kemp of Memphis played at the same high school. Lofton, long three, and he got it. Chris Lofton's second three of the night. 25-17, Tennessee.
You don't dare him to shoot the basketball. He's too good of a stroke.
Rejected inside by Cruz. 7:01 in the last 2.5 minutes for the Vols.
A good blue wall defense was thrown up, though, quickly in transition by Memphis. An important initial stop out of the guys in blue.
Lofton feeling it. It's going to go inside and score again. 12 for Lofton. 27-17. John Calipari has seen all he wants to see right now.
Wow, the freshman Cruz and Chris Lofton have exploded this building. There's the first initial miss. Look at Duke Cruz come in. Just keeps his eyes up, fights through contact, and the ball's above the rim. And then Chris Lofton, I talked about, you don't dare him to shoot. You don't let him measure the rim. Brad, you get on his toes and make him bounce that basketball.
Knocks down a three, and then Donnell Mack let him go, and he scored with the left hand on the inside. And John Calipari didn't even wait till Mack got to the sideline as if to say, are you kidding me? You're going to give number 5 a crease? 12 points for Chris Lofton, and we still have 6:10 to go in the first half.
You know what? Last year, Chris Lofton went all season long trying to prove everybody wrong. Why didn't you recruit me, Kentucky? Why did not you recruit me, Louisville? And he did very good last year doing that. Now he's trying to prove everybody right. Okay, you voted me on an All-American team. Now I'm going to prove you that you were right to put me there.
The junior out of Maysville, Kentucky. And they sell his number 5 jersey in Maysville, Kentucky. And he's the biggest thing to come out of there since George Clooney.
That's big.
And then when you're the sexiest guy in the world and Chris Lofton's outvoting you, outranking you in Maysville, Kentucky, you're hot. He's hot tonight. He's got 12.
How many guys can say that? I'm bigger than George Clooney.
You and Chris Lofton are the only 2 guys I know. Tennessee is warmed up now. They're at 45%, but a lot of that is because, as you saw the graphic, Chris Lofton's 5 for 5. Whistle, and it's going to be a foul on the baseline. Looks like it's on Josh Tabb.
Brad, you've watched 14 minutes of this game with me as well. You tell me, how important is just one-on-one defense in this basketball game on both ends?
Well, you've got to stay with a great shooter like Lofton, and so far Memphis has been unable to do it. They've tried double teams, and Chris has given the ball up, and when he gets it back, as you said, his range is Somewhere between here and Chattanooga. Hunt on a runner. Kept alive. Memphis with the offensive rebound. Hunt's going to try again. Great move. He just didn't finish. Tab with another rebound. Lamar Smith's going to run it up. Lofton, I thought he was going to backpedal and take one. And he does. This is his first miss of the night. Tennessee gets it back, and Cruz trying to throw it down as foul. Uh-oh, and a technical now has been called, and this one's going to be an overreaction on Duke Cruz. You've got to keep your composure. Freshman getting excited and wanting to throw down a resounding dunk and knowing he'd have to go to the free throw line, and then I don't think it was aimed at anybody in particular.
Well, you've got to be strong, and you can never get loose with a basketball in this ballgame on either end. I think right there is what they tag him with. Chin to chin with someone and telling him about it.
So that's the second technical, third of the ballgame. Second technical on Tennessee. One on Jawan Smith earlier, and now on Duke Cruz. This thing's heating up. Jeremy Hunt's going to go to the free throw line on the other end. He was the one that Cruz was woofing at.
And Brad, the technical, and why Duke Cruz got the technical. Yes, it's a negative play for his team, and he's going to learn from it. But it's also the reason why Bruce Pearl targeted him as my #1 recruit. He saw the fire and the fight and the competitive drive of this kid on the recruiting trail, and he said, young man, I've got to have you to get done what I want to get done at Tennessee.
So now we'll walk it down the other way for the personal foul. And Cruz will step up. 6'7" freshman out of Hampton, Virginia. Went to the same high school as Allen Iverson.
Again tonight, because his buddy is from the same high school as the point guard for Memphis, he went to the coach at the pregame meal and said, Coach, my boy needs to start instead of me. Wayne Chisholm deserves to trot out there and have his name called. Let me come in when you need me. And that speaks volumes about this guy.
Exactly. 5 for Duke off the bench. Now 6. And the lead is the biggest of the night. Full court pressure. Memphis down 11 as we approach 5 minutes. And they're in trouble in the backcourt, and they turn it over. And that controlled chaos, full court press, especially with Cruz and Josh Tabb, force another Memphis miscue.
And they've gone away from a pancake press to an on-ball, out-of-bounds guy that's trapping. Memphis has not adjusted to the changing look, and if you can get Memphis thinking while they're playing, that's always a plus. Not a negative on Memphis, but it's that way with anyone in this building.
Tennessee 22-7 in the last 10 minutes. Lofton, only one missed shot tonight, and Matt Dozier, they got the long arms on him. And he's going to take it anyway. Doesn't get the roll, battle for the rebound. A little dish inside by Tabb, and now the ball up and in for Lamar Smith.
And it's a size press right now. Cruz up top on the ball.
Numbers now for the Tigers, and they make it pay off. Nice drive to the rack and a good dish. Robert Dozier scores.
When you go with a size press, what you give up is the back-end goalie at the rim to stop a play like that. Gamble on the front end, can burn him on the back end.
Tennessee by 11 with 4 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the first half. Lofton up and under. Got it. Wow, he scored in every fashion in this first half. Jeremy Hunt trying to slice to the basket. Dozier comes out of there with a rebound. Fans were looking for a traveling violation, and now he and Bradshaw go to the deck. And the possession arrow will go to Tennessee. 13-point Tennessee lead. Much of it is this guy, Chris Lofton. One of the best in the SEC and the country, putting on a show.
Dave Revson in the studio. Coming up at the half, the two longest non-conference home winning streaks in the country on the line. We'll tell you which one ended. North Carolina State has reportedly hired Tom O'Brien, the Boston College head football coach. This according to ESPN.com's Mark Schlabach. More on that coming up at the half, plus all the hot stove news. That is all ahead when Doug Gottlieb and Hubert Davis join me just a few minutes from now. Let's go back to Brett.
Wow, that is newsy, Dave. Tom O'Brien to North Carolina State. That one, didn't see that one coming. I don't know how many people did. Chris Lofton has seen a lot of things coming, like 6 out of 8 from the floor. The rest of the team is 6 of 18. 14 points for Chris, the junior All-American candidate. Here he goes on a runner with a left hand and 2 more. 16 for Lofton. The lead is 15. And right now, Memphis is discombobulated, to say the least. And they can't, I'm sorry, Jimmy, they can't guard Lofton, and they can't get the ball over midcourt.
He's the guy discombobulating them, though. I mean, you got to get out that far on him, Brad, because he's a three-point shooter from 24, 25 feet, and now he's going by, and the blue jerseys are not rotating over to take away his drive ability. He's not beating them on speed. He's beating them on angles.
Chris Lofton halfway to a career-high night. If he has this kind of second half, we'll be watching that for you. Bradshaw, a runner that goes off the glass, his first basket.
Another guy that didn't get to the rim off of speed. He got to the rim off of a controlled dribble, saw an angle, got it high off the glass.
Well, this is danger zone for Memphis. They need a bucket. They missed the three, and the rebound. Tennessee had it and lost it out of bounds. 17-point volunteer lead over John Calipari's Memphis Tigers with 3 minutes remaining in the half. There's a wide open look for Allen, and he missed a three. Easy one underneath, and they miss a dunk. Dozier missed twice in close. Lofton to the rack with a right hand, give him 2 more. Timeout Memphis.
And he had Chris Lofton, one major offer coming out of high school. And the reason why he only had one, too many guys on the recruiting trail said he can only shoot the basketball. He's a little slow. He doesn't have a great handle. So what did Chris Lofton do? He came to Tennessee and went to work on his overall game. He can still light you up like a cheap cigar from beyond the three-point stripe, but now when you take it away from him, he can also do some stuff off the bounce. He's been really, really good tonight, but this Memphis half-court defense has also not made him work for those tough twos like I think you have to.
Chris Lofton, 18 points. The lead is 19 with 2:40 to go. You talk about feeling it at home for Chris Lofton right now.
Or it's like when I was in high school, sometimes you have to overlook a blemish when you're asking someone for a prom date. Same way with recruiting. He had a blemish in high school. You know, he was known as a three-point specialist. And you forget about, well, I know what he can do, and you overlook that.
The other attributes.
Sure you do. And there's some good attributes out there that go along with a blemish
sometimes. That's enough said. I know where you're going with that.
He can flat out shoot that basketball with the best of them.
There's some poor girl that you went to high school with right now saying, I thought I had the attributes and I had one blemish, and you wouldn't ask me to the prom.
That was never my issue. I was the one with the blemish.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Just wanted to make that clear for the folks back home. Allen almost turned it over. Anderson goes around that weave all the way to the baseline. The shots in close aren't going for Memphis. And now jump ball and possession arrow will be with Memphis. 2:18 left in the half. We've got a stellar college basketball game Sunday night. Glenn Davis and number 11 of LSU taking on the Longhorns and their star freshman Kevin Durant. Sunday Showdown presented by Alltel Wireless. ESPN Sunday, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Brad Nessler and Jimmy Dykes. Final 2 minutes of the first half between the Memphis Tigers and the Volunteers of Tennessee. And it has been action-packed, and it's been loaded with Chris Lofton. And has been loaded with Tennessee defense, forcing now the 8th Memphis turnover. And a 32-9 march in the last 12 minutes and 50 seconds. They trailed by as many as 5 early in the ball game, did the Volunteers.
That run has happened. One of the reasons is Tennessee's just man-to-man, check-your-breath defense. I'm going to shut my guy down attitude has been better than Memphis's in that area of this game.
Dane Bradshaw had a good thought. A bounce pass to the baseline, but it's out of bounds. 5th Tennessee turnover tonight.
You and I have both seen Coach Cal's clubs enough to know don't even think about going to bed at half.
Yeah, that's right.
19 points, even on the road, is nothing to these guys in blue when they can get it going in a hurry.
Joey Dorsey had a great move to the basket, and he didn't finish it either. Memphis has got to be looking at that into the court as if to say, let's get down at halftime and let's get on the other end. Maybe there won't be a lid on the basket.
He's trying to face guard Lofton now all over the floor, and it's opened up driving lanes for other guys.
Dorsey clears it off, and Hunt on the run. Anderson pull up 3. Not there.
They could not shoot any worse if they were trying to in this building right now in Memphis from beyond that three-point line.
They've hit 1 shot of their last 10 in the last 5 minutes. Lofton for 3.
Come on now. Come on now, Chris Lofton.
21 for Lofton.
Wow.
He's got half of Tennessee's points, and it's a 22-point lead. Kemp will try to quiet the crowd and can't. Rebound Bradshaw. Ahead. And a foul on Kemp as Ramar Smith was going up.
So far, Bruce Pearl's squad has played like this is a bitter, bitter rivalry. And Memphis has not answered the bell. But look at this guy.
Lofton's 3rd 3 of the night. And then you see Ramar Smith running up, and Kemp got him pretty well. Ramar goes to the free throw line, where he's 2 for 2 tonight. He rimmed that one out. I want to make a correction. I was talking about Ramar earlier. A freshman said he was from Carbondale, Illinois, and the folks back home are saying, what, is he nuts? He's from Mount Clemens, Michigan. Chris Lofton should take the rest of the first half off. I think 21 points is good enough.
That's as good a half as I've seen this year in college basketball. Maybe we will see all season long.
Well, we're going to see more Chris, though.
Yes, we are.
We'll see him on the road. We'll see him on a neutral site in Nashville against Oklahoma State. And here we're down the final 40 seconds of the first half.
And Brad, he did it against a club coming in Memphis that was a blanket defensively first few ball games this year.
Well, they only let Marshall shoot 33% the other night. Now they're letting Chris Lofton shoot about 80%. Hunt trying to find a way to score anything, and finally he gets one to go. And I mean finally for the whole team, not just Jeremy.
Tennessee will take the very last shot of this half. Bruce Pearl knows, do not let Memphis throw in a momentum bucket heading into this locker room.
Final 6 seconds. Bradshaw's got it. He'll take a long 3. And that'll be it for halftime. Wow. What a performance by Tennessee and Chris Lofton in particular. 21 of their 43 points. Halftime, Tennessee 43, Memphis 22. Dave and the gang in the studio now for our halftime show. Dave. At one point, that young man led Memphis all by himself. 21 first half points for Chris Lofton at halftime. It's the Vols at home 43-22. Welcome back to Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, everybody. Brad Nessler and Jimmy Dykes. Partner, the last time we saw a performance like this probably had Adam Morrison or J.J. Redick written all over it.
Yeah, a good reference there. And you know what Chris Lofton did in the first half, in my estimation? The game was really, really fast. He's the guy that adjusted on the offensive end and slowed down just a little bit. And as soon as he did, man, you talk about getting in a rhythm. Terrific stroke, and he had the balance going. He shot some tough 2s. He can always stick a 3, but Memphis kind of also bailed him out, a little late rotating over, and he just started scoring anytime and from anywhere on the floor that he wanted to. You look at the balance in his game in that first half. The oranges are the makes. He's got 3 threes, a couple of mid-range shots, and then some stuff around the rim. That's as good of a half as I've seen out of a guard in a long, long time. To J.J. Redick last year, actually.
He's just 1 3-pointer shy now of moving into the number 2 spot on the all-time Tennessee list in 3-pointers. What a sensational first half for that young guy. 21 points. 19,714 are watching it right now. And they'll be cheering the next 20 minutes to see if Tennessee can hold on to this big lead over the number 17 team in the country. You can tell that Memphis has come out with some defensive intensity on this opening possession. And Bradshaw missed in close. And the Tigers get the rebound of the person of Joey Dorsey. They need a good opening 4 minutes, the Tigers here. They've got to take it step by step. You can't get 21 points back in a hurry.
But the steps have to start right now.
That would have been a great start, but the three rattles out. Rebound, though, Dorsey underneath, and he's going to be fouled. Foul is on Howell, his second. Joey Dorsey, the 6'9", 260-pound junior out of Baltimore, trying to fire up his team. Number 1 shot blocker in the conference last year.
I'm not sure I've ever seen this kind of a balance. Memphis now has 15 offensive rebounds in this game. They've only got 9 made shots, but 15 times they've got the ball right there underneath the rim, and they still only have 9 made shots total.
That's why I said hopefully they'll have better luck on this basket, because that one had something over the top of it down there in the first half. Dorsey got 1 of 2. And there's going to be a foul trying to tip the ball out, and it's going to be on Robert Dozier.
Well, look at all these misses. Again, terrific on the offensive board, but just cannot get it to fall. There have been some contact. The officials, it's been a loose whistle game. It's been even on both ends with a loose whistle. But Memphis has just struggled. Three-point shot hasn't fallen, and now they've become 2-point sensitive to their three-point shots as well.
A 20-point advantage for Tennessee. Smith, fadeaway jumper. Tough shot. Probably not the one Bruce Pearl was looking for. Kemp's been held scoreless so far, but he's the assist man. He's not a big scorer. Averages about 9 a game. And there's a walk, little skip on Antonio Anderson. That is the 9th turnover suffered by Memphis.
Another example of Tennessee's one-on-one, man-to-man defense being a little bit better in this ball game so far than the team in blue. Flex cut offense, the 3 guys along the baseline, just that flex cut movement. Maryland has used it for years, and it's difficult to defend.
Tennessee plays 7 of the next 8 at home. In fact, they don't leave the state of Tennessee until about the 9th of January. Lofton, way outside. Shot clock was winding down as he took that one. That's only his 3rd missed shot out of 12 tonight. Kemp will try a 3. Lofton with a rebound.
It's not the shot Coach Cal wants, I can tell you. Kemp has proven he can do a lot of things, but he is not a proven shooter.
Tennessee's only turned it over 6 times, including that last trip down court. Nice hang time by Douglas Roberts, and he's going to have a chance for a 3-point play.
I think Willie Kemp will get a seat because of the shot that he took last possession. You get back in a ball game like this by doing exactly what Memphis did, Brad. Catch the ball on the perimeter, drive, force the action. Let the officials make a call to help you out. Be tough with the basketball. Memphis is kind of cutting the lead a little bit because of that action.
Chris Douglas Roberts was on the Conference USA All-Freshman team last year. Had 25 starts a year ago of the 37 games that were played, including 33 victories, which for Memphis was a school record, and it was tied for the most wins by any team last season. The only other team that had that many wins was the national champion Florida Gators.
The other thing that Tennessee does right there with Bradshaw on the floor, he's a 4-man, so he's always a pressure release. He's got a 6'9" guy out there chasing him on the perimeter right now, so they can always keep their offense moving with Bradshaw on the floor.
James played every position except center in his time in Knoxville, and because of moves like that, he can actually score over some of the bigger guys that he faces. He gives away about a half foot to 8 inches every game as far as who he's playing against. Dorsey trying to keep it alive. Ball loose on the floor. And it is going to be Memphis ball. Chris Lofton comes out, has not scored so far in the second half. Gets a quick breather here.
you talked about the importance of Memphis having a good opening 4 minutes. Well, we've played 3, and they're not gaining much ground. They need to have a good next 60 seconds right now to give them some confidence.
Anderson trying to leave it off inside for Dozier. He's fouled by Cruz. Memphis has had so many opportunities in close, and they just can't capitalize. Now they'll try to score from the free throw line, where they only had 2 free throws in the first half. 2 out of 6, so they didn't help themselves from the line at all either. Here's Robert Dozier, the sophomore out of Lithonia, Georgia. Played at Laurinburg Prep in North Carolina when they went 40-0 to win the prep school national championship. He's a little bit bigger than he was last year, Jimmy. The 7'3" wingspan. He's got those long arms. He's put on about 15 pounds, and people would look at him and go, well, he needed the 15. He needs a few more, probably. Got the second of 2. 7 for Robert. 18-point Tennessee lead as we are under 17 minutes to go in the ballgame.
They stay with their flex cuts. Sometimes they'll get a shooter across that baseline and down screen for him. Just taking time off that clock, looking for drive opportunities and looking for a flex opening.
Trying to go for a steal there, and Douglas Roberts instead picks up his second foul. Don't forget the future stars of basketball Thursday on ESPN2. Number 1 ranked Oak Hill Academy. The Warriors go up against the number 2 team, the Blue Devils of Norcross. Old Spice High School Showcase presented by Nike on ESPN2. You talk about Oak Hill and some of the guys that have come through there. That's a pretty good group, isn't it?
You know, that NBA age limitation rule, I think it's going to really help guys like Calipari and Huggins and Pete Olson, Jim Boeheim, guys that have had success already with one-and-done players.
And of course, Carmelo Anthony, one of the most notable after the freshman season to win a national title for Syracuse. Ray Allen ran it up, missed the shot. And now everybody converges on Ramar Smith, and he's fouled. Foul's going to be on Dorsey. That's a third on Dorsey. John Calipari knew coming in he was coming into a hornet's nest. I don't know that he knew it was going to be quite this much of a buzzsaw. Thompson Bowling Arena, men's basketball over the years, sometimes you come in here, it's kind of a cavernous place. If the women aren't playing, it's not full. There's almost 20,000 here tonight, and they've been standing a good part of the ball game. 3-pointer by Jawan Smith won't go. Dozier's going to try 3 of his own. Rebound. Anderson, nice hustle to keep it alive. Kemp for 3. Got it. Willie Kemp's first basket of the night is a 3-pointer. And it's down to 15. Again, you've got to crawl before you walk and walk before you run, and that's what Memphis is trying to do here in the opening 4.5 minutes of the second half.
So their opening 4 minutes, it wasn't great, but they didn't lose ground. They actually gained a little, and they can build off of that now.
And they got a defensive stop, Jimmy, right there, and that can add 2 more to it. Kemp the kick out. And now Dozier from 15 looking for a foul call, and Bradshaw didn't get it, and he short-armed the ball badly. That would have been huge. That would have made it a 13-point game.
Well, out Lofton on the floor, Tennessee right now looking for an offensive identity. He's set to check in. They need a basket until he can get back.
Double team down low, and lane violation on Tennessee. So the Volunteers will give it back. Don Calipari's coming all the way out on the court to meet his players, trying to get them involved. They trail by 15. Tennessee by 15 with 15 to play in this one here in Knoxville. And there's some of the students from Bolivar, Tennessee. The Blue Crew up there, 2 of their finest, took a 5.5-hour bus ride here to Knoxville to watch Willie Kemp and Wayne Chisholm play basketball. So watch their ex-classmates and teammates, the 2005 Class AA champions. Wayne Chisholm came in for the last 2 years in Bolivar. Willie kind of grew up there. Willie's a local legend. Number 1, he hit that last 3-point shot. And the principal said, okay, we're going to send a bus, but all of you kids that go, we're going to get home about 5 in the morning. All you kids go, better be in class by 8 o'clock on Thursday morning. They said, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Long bus ride. We don't care. We want to see Willie and Wayne play hoops in a big-time atmosphere. Well, they got it, and here's Kemp on the dribble.
Well, that's what college basketball does for folks, doesn't it? Allow them opportunities that sometimes they probably wouldn't get otherwise.
There's even a few folks that are wearing half orange and half blue jerseys in this ball game, as Willie Kemp, one of those guys from Bolivar, has his shot rejected. And coming the other way in a hurry was Lamar Smith, but he missed on the drive.
Bolivar, an area just outside of Memphis, and John Calipari has said, you can have the rest of the states, Tennessee and Vanderbilt, but I own Memphis. Memphis is a unique deal, and usually they do.
It's tremendous high school basketball in Memphis. Bolivar's about 70 miles east of Memphis on Highway 64 out there. Town of about 5,800 people. And here it's got two of their own in a big-time college basketball game. And the folks that aren't here and didn't make that 5.5-hour trip, I know are watching back home. As Memphis knocks down a three. Douglas Roberts with the three-pointer, and all of a sudden it's a 12-point game. I remember Jimmy saying at halftime, you know, John Calipari's teams, you don't want to go anywhere. Lofton misses. Tennessee was looking for a foul call, and now they're going to get it. They wanted it on Lofton, and instead it's going to be Wayne Chisholm who is fouled.
Here's another reason why I said that. At the end of the shoot-around today, Brad, Calipari circled his guys up, and he said, here's all I'm going to tell you. Remember how sick we felt at the end of the Georgia Tech game in Maui when we got beat. Not because it wasn't a good Georgia Tech team, but because of how we played and how they wore our tails out on the rebounding department, the hustle department. Do not let that happen in this building. I think he talked about that again at half.
And now on the inbound play, there's a whistle and a foul. And that one's going to go on Douglas Roberts. That'll be his third. So Memphis has got it down to 12 with 13.5 to go. And they'll send Jawan Smith to the free throw line. Jawan out of Cleveland, Tennessee. Probably the top sixth man in the SEC last year, and now a starter.
Tennessee has to get Chris Lofton back into this ball game. He has not gotten back into this thing like he was the first 20 minutes. Right now, Bruce Pearl, you know, is thinking, how do I get number 5 going again offensively? If he doesn't get going in the next 2 or 3 minutes, Memphis is going to keep creeping closer and closer and closer.
Smith got both free throws. 5 for Jawan. The lead only 14. It once was 22 in the first half, and Douglas Roberts going to work. He's got 8 points in the half.
Bruce Pearl knows Lofton needs to get involved. Did the other 4 white jerseys on the floor understand that?
Let's see if Howell can get it to him.
Really tight face guarding up top. He has to come all the way out 40 feet away from the rim just to get a touch.
He's got Mack on him. He takes a long three and nails it. Well, that's how you get him back in it. He does it himself.
And that's why you get him back involved, because what did that shot do? Got him 3 points and got the crowd back into the game just a little bit.
Matt tries a 3 and he nails it. So the guy that was guarding Lofton comes up with his first basket of the night. Donnell Mack, the freshman, with a big 3. And it's still a 12-point game with a little over 12 to go.
Lofton is down involved in that flex cut, so he's dangerous to go inside, get screened for. That's too quick out of Tennessee.
Lofton from the free throw line, and he's going to go to the free throw line. That foul on Dorsey. That's going to be 4, I believe, on Dorsey.
I mean, that's just a long arm, lanky defender on him, but he drives hard, lowers his shoulders, and then just creates his own separation right there, just enough to get that shot off. I mean, he has a great understanding of how much distance and separation he needs from a taller defender to get that stroke off. He is
now
crafty.
Number 2 all-time, just past Tony Harris on the career three-point list. 241 with the 4 that he has had tonight. And he's got 25 points.
Yeah, isn't he good at lowering his shoulders and baiting you into, I'm getting ready to blow by you, and as soon as you go down with him, boom, he steps right back and sticks it on you.
You know, we were talking about at halftime, you and I were laughing a little bit when Tennessee came out of the locker room to warm up. Chris Lofton has hit every imaginable shot in the world in the first half. He went to the free throw line and worked on free throws. I looked at you and said, he hadn't been there yet, he's going to get there. Well, he just knocked down a couple.
Pretty good IQ, doesn't he?
12 minutes to play, 14-point game. Tennessee has been in front virtually throughout. Hunt misses a three. And Jawan Smith. Lofton way out. Got another one! You gotta be kidding me. That was in the first row of the seats. On a fadeaway, Lofton, another three-pointer. 55-38.
I guess the other 4 white jerseys understand the importance of getting number 5 in white back involved in this game.
Chris Lofton's got 29 points, none better than this one. Whoa. A grunt match, to say the least. Both coaches have talked about this one. Bruce Pearl even brought his team down through the crowd. Memphis with some technical fouls early both ways. It's been a heated rivalry with some hard fouls. Coaches going at it. And Tennessee has led virtually throughout, including 55-38 right now, courtesy of the junior, Chris Lofton, who has lit up the night sky in Knoxville at Thompson Bowling Arena in front of over 19,000 fans. He has 29 points, 5 threes, including one a few moments ago where Jimmy and I just looked at each other and said, that's ridiculous.
Think back on how many contested, tough, twisting jump shots J.J. Redick made as a junior and senior at Duke. That's what this kid's doing right now. He's gone with that one.
Here's Dozier all alone. Set play coming out of the timeout. Jeremy Hunt with a good feed to Dozier. Chris Lofton with ball in hand and 29 points, approaching a career high. Fadeaway three again. That one was halfway down and it came out. And on a battle for the rebound, it's still going to be volunteer ball. And now we've got a timeout with 11:09 remaining in the ball game. Chris Lofton putting on a show. 29 points for the first team SEC junior. Chris Lofton's got 29 of Tennessee's 55 points. Nobody knows how important he is to this team more than his head coach.
He is a really good contested shooter. And he's going to have to be tonight because they got some guys that are 6'6" and long-armed, and they're going to have a hand in his face, but he can make contested shots. He's terrific in transition. He needs no time to get it off. He's done a better job at setting screens to get himself open to receive screens and shooting behind screens. And we try to do a lot of ball screen things for him. The problem is they just trap the ball out of his hand. They hedge him so hard that he's then got to give the ball up a little bit, and that's fine because it creates offense for the rest of our team, but much of our stuff goes through Chris. It's hard to get him more shots than we get him because they double team him every time we set him a screen.
And Brad, here's what stands out to me in that soundbite. Memphis has not trapped him. They have not doubled him up and gotten the ball out of his hands. If they're going to have a chance to win this ball game, they have to start that right now and make someone else beat them. Double him up every time he touches that basketball.
And a walk on Wayne Chisholm after he got the rebound off his own miss, trying to keep control of the ball and slipped to the floor. 11 minutes to go, and Memphis down by 15. They led early in the ball game by as many as 5, and then Tennessee just went storming out in front and not looked back. Dozier trying to work to the inside, leaves it for Allen on a drive on the baseline, and Dre Allen scores to cut it down to 13.
Or even if you're a point guard, when your defender loses sight of you, run right to the rim, and Allen with an experienced play.
Whistle and a foul down inside, and it might be on Andre Allen. It is. Allen, a junior point guard, a lot of experience he brings to the team. And we're going to go to 1-and-1 That means Chris Lofton will step up to the free throw line with a chance to make it an even 30 right here.
How will Memphis defend this kid for the next 10 minutes and 32 seconds? So if he continues to operate, even if he has to go to the half-court strike, Brad, to get the basketball, if he goes one-on-one from that point, they're going to still win this ball game. They've got to get the ball out of his hands on the touch somehow, some way.
Chris Lofton has matched his season high that he set against Louisiana Lafayette. And this against a better opponent, 31 against Memphis right now. Good move by Douglas Roberts. He shows his style, and you can tell he's a good one, the 6'6 sophomore. He's had a big second half. 10 in the half, 15 for the game to lead Memphis in scoring. Chisholm's going to try three. And look who keeps it alive. Dane Bradshaw. All 6'4" of them. And then he scores.
Kind of sums him up, doesn't it?
Yep.
He wanted the basketball, first of all, more than the other 9 guys on the floor on the miss. And he just took it right to the gut of the defense and made him pay.
Douglas Roberts was looking for a foul and didn't get it. Bradshaw dishes it to Lofton. And Lofton tried to shake Allen, and there's going to be a foul, I believe, away from the ball. At least I think that's the call. Or was it a 5-second call? They're going to call it on Chisholm. That's what I thought. I mean, Chisholm looked to be the guilty party. Trying to set a pick for Chris Lofton, and he'll go to the bench. 15-point game, 9:20 left. Brad Nessler and Jimmy Dykes, Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville. Tennessee's trying to put the biggest W in their column so far this year. Here's a steal and a reverse slam for Jawan Smith. A little 360. That could make SportsCenter if Chris Lofton doesn't dominate it. Allen on the inside. Rebound comes back to him. And a timeout on the floor with 8:50 to go.
You want to get 24,000 to their feet in a hurry? Recruit guys like that. That's what this Thompson Bowling Arena can do to folks. Now that Bruce Pearl is in charge of this program, it's been a big empty building for about 10 years, but now a major factor not only in this league but across the nation is this arena.
17-point lead with 8:50 left, and they are rocking in Knoxville. Reminder, we've got a big college basketball game Sunday night. Big baby Glenn Davis leading number 11th ranked LSU against the Texas Longhorns. Sunday showdown presented by Alltel Wireless on ESPN Sunday at 8 Eastern, and also available in high definition on ESPN HD.
Well, there's an older stud on the left and a young stud on the right. Glenn Davis, good win for the LSU last night and the SEC, knocking off a tough, I think a Final Four type team in Texas A&M. If you haven't seen Kevin Durant play, tune in, because he's as good as there is in this year's freshman class.
Well, this game, if Tennessee holds on to this 17-point lead, and it doesn't have any indication that they won't, this might send a message that what they did last year was no fluke. They're 12-4, first place finish in the East, and they went 22-8. And certainly when you consider their losses have been to North Carolina and Butler. North Carolina, one of the top 5 teams in the country, and Butler's 10-0. So if Tennessee goes to 7-2, you're going to have to look at this win and go, wow, whether it's at home or not.
You know what else you have to look at? Coach Pearl and Coach Summit. Pretty good combination, yes. Men's and women's. Right up there with Coach K and Gail Guest, of course, at Duke. Sylvia Hatchell and Roy Williams at North Carolina. And you talk about a tandem, Pat Summit and Bruce Pearl. You know, they got Philip Fulmer away and Pat Summit drive. If he keeps going the direction he's going, one of these days when you drive onto campus, he'll have an arch. It'll be the pearly gates.
Oh, I
can see it now, the pearly gates as you come onto campus.
Well, we've got Coach Summit's name right in front of us at midcourt here. That three would have been big. And now they're going to get free throws from Joey Dorsey as he's fouled underneath after picking up the loose ball rebound. Duke Cruz with the foul. That's going to be his third.
Tennessee has more than held their own in the toughness department in this ball game, and to me the toughness department shows up in, can you board with a team inside when they have a physical advantage on you? Memphis has that physical advantage in this ball game, but Tennessee has held their own in that department.
Dozier, 2 points. Dorsey missed both free throws. I may have said Dorsey, Joey Dorsey with only 2 points on the night. And the lead remains 17.
They continue to face guard Lofton. But what do they do once he touches the basketball? I think that's the biggest key defensively for Memphis.
Bradshaw trying to get it down low on the baseline, and then even after he makes a mistake, he hustles back and forces a Tiger turnover. Each team with 11 turnovers. Now Bradshaw will inbound on the baseline. Lobs it into the paint. And there's just a concentration turnover by Jawan Smith.
The guys in white have thrown up a pretty good wall defensively against Memphis tonight because they are a drive and attack team. Look at that built-in wall. It's always kind of bothering the guys in blue in this ball game. The off-ball defenders, and there it is again.
Tell you what, Chris Douglas Roberts has had a good game. Might be all for naught, but he's got 17.
Tried to pancake the point guard again. He did a good job of releasing out of it.
Not sure about that shot. Ramar Smith, he was looking for a foul and didn't get the call. Kemp.
Come on, man.
Dorsey had swatted from behind. I'd give Chris Lofton a touch if I was Tennessee.
You're a pretty good assistant coach right now.
Bradshaw, the look with one hand and the layup with the other. How good was that?
Young man's from Memphis. They bypassed him. He comes to Tennessee. He was huge last year with 21 and 10. Again, he's playing like it is a rivalry. In his heart, in his jersey right now, it's as big as it can get for Dane Bradshaw. I'm from Memphis. You don't want me to play for you? I'll burn you at the hoop if you give me a shot.
ESPN2's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Verizon Wireless.
7 minutes to play, 63-46. Tennessee leads, and Jimmy, I always think of bragging rights and help in recruiting when you play a game like this, but it's worth a lot more than that.
Well, you talk to the coaches, and they said, you know what, all that is a sidebar to the fact that this is a resume win for somebody tonight. Bruce Pearl has the advantage in that area right now with change left in this ball game at 7 minutes, and a confidence win. I think that's almost as important for whoever runs out of here with a win in 7 minutes from now, because it's early. It's still first week of December, and at some point your kids have to earn confidence. You can instill it in them in practice and say, guys, we're making progress, but you go out and you put a hammer on somebody in a rivalry game, those kids know we've earned the confidence ourselves.
Kemp keeps it alive. That'll help so much when you start looking at the likes of Florida, LSU, and Alabama, and Arkansas, Georgia's won 5 straight, and all the rest. And now Tennessee knows they can play with a number 17 team in the country, and not only play with them, but they're putting it on them right now.
I really like Tennessee's defense in this ball game of Memphis. Another turnover, gets a guy out a big, and if you're recruited by Bruce Pearl and you're a 4 or 5 man, that tells you one thing. You can run the floor, because if you can't run the floor, you're not going to be recruited to play for Bruce Pearl or John Calipari.
Right. Well, each team came in averaging over 80 points a game. Tennessee's the only team that's got any kind of shot at that right now, the way things are going. Duke Cruz, the freshman, 7 points. Missed the second free throw.
He shoots that free throw a little bit too much in front of his face. Next time he steps up there, we'll try to show it. You got to get it on that right side of your body for a natural shooter.
Chris Lofton does a nice job playing the backdoor cut and knocking it out of bounds. So Chris, who's been so big offensively, comes up with a nice defensive play.
Memphis's defensive numbers tonight. I mean, their shooting numbers, 29%. That Tennessee defense has been really, really solid. It's a white wall that's bothering those perimeter players right now.
And a whistle and a foul is going to be on Jawan Smith. There's the field goal percentage Jimmy was talking about. You know, I know it's a different cast of characters and it's a different site. It's not at the FedEx Forum. It's in Knoxville. But last year, it was Tennessee that shot a season-low 35% against Memphis last year, and now they're returning the favor. Kent missed a free throw. The Tigers are not a good free throw shooting team overall. Whistle and a foul. And if it's on Dorsey, it might be all. At least I think that's 5.
I think Dane Bradshaw drove that ball the length of the floor with one thing in mind. It's not so much about me getting 2 points, but Dane Bradshaw, a point guard mentality playing the 4, knew that Dorsey had 4 fouls, so he said, I'm going to take 1 trip and try to drive it right at this guy and try to foul him out.
And he does with only 2 points on the night. That's it for Joey Dorsey. 13 rebounds, and you know, that's amazing because when he has double-figure rebounds, 19 times in his career he's had double-figure rebounds, and the Tigers have won 18 of them. So they put one in the loss column, one of those statistics that just got bigger on one side instead of the other. Meanwhile, Dane Bradshaw goes to the free throw line, where he's got 8 points on the night, and it's not what he does point total-wise, it's what he does everywhere else on the court that makes him so valuable to this Tennessee team.
Yep. Number 2 defensive rebounder, number 1 in assists, number 1 in steals. Played the last half of last year with a broken wrist. Played his way through it.
Recruited as a point guard, and he's played just about every spot since he got here.
Tennessee's going to pancake the point guard again, and he slips right out of it.
Ray Allen going to take it coast to coast, and he's fouled by Bradshaw. With 6:18 remaining. Bradshaw picks up his first foul. 5 out of 13 for Memphis. They come in as a team shooting 61%, and they're coming off a season high against Marshall the other night. They shot 85%, so they haven't made a living at the free throw line all year, and they certainly haven't tonight. That's the first time Allen's hit a free throw in his 3 attempts. He's shooting 43% from the free throw line.
I go back to the comment that Bruce Pearl made a day ago about no one gives us respect less than Memphis. I'm not sure he really believes that, because he has great respect for Memphis, and talking to him, I think he realized, I'm going to give my kids another shot of energy, another shot of why we need to play extremely hard in this ball game. And that was a statement for his own kids as much as anything. I firmly believe that. And they have played like it so far.
Lofton has it stripped as he went up. Ball comes free down inside to Cruz, and Cruz keeps it alive all by himself. I agree with you, Jim, and especially bringing the students or the team down through the crowd tonight instead of just out of the locker room. There's a little more showmanship that got his team pretty excited about this ball game, as if they weren't already. 19 for Chris Douglas Roberts. It's down to 15 with 5:20 to go, but Memphis needs some defensive stops and some offense in a hurry.
Tennessee continues to take time off the shot clock and the game clock with that wide flex spread offense. Basically 2 guards up top a lot of times and 3 working along the baseline. And because they're a small team, all 5 can handle it for the most part.
And Lofton had it stripped again. And up and over everybody, Antonio Anderson. Pretty good lift by Antonio Anderson. Down to 13.
Memphis is a club that can go 5, 6, 7 points in 45, 50 seconds if you're not careful.
Now it's going to be on Willie Kemp. It's Kemp's third. Bruce Pearl still working the officials with a 13-point lead. And so free throws coming up from Lamar Smith. And Lamar's hit 3 out of the 4 he has taken tonight.
He was a nationally ranked top 15 point guard coming out of high school, but has been coming off the bench the last 2 ball games, and he's been adjusting to the speed differential from high school to college, much like a college quarterback talks about the speed adjustment from college to pro football.
Right.
Same scenario, and especially when you're coming into a speed system like Tennessee, it's that much more difficult to adjust to.
Lamar, a 4-year high school starter, knocks down both free throws and now gets a breather as Howell comes in for him. He's given his team a 15-point lead. This has been the man for Memphis offensively. Anderson fouled, and this one's going to be on Bradshaw. And Antonio Anderson will go to the free throw line. Anderson comes in averaging 11 points in the ball game and 5 tonight so far. He was a starter much of the time last year. When he wasn't, he was the first man off the bench. Antonio, sophomore out of Lynn, Massachusetts. Where, of course, John Calipari with UMass had so much success in the 8 seasons there, including a Final Four in '96.
Brad, Memphis needs 2 back-to-back 2-minute runs.
Whoa, down hard, and I mean hard, goes Jawan Smith. Douglas Roberts.
I don't think anyone sees him still laying down. They got to stop the game.
Yeah, finally, the officials, I don't know how they missed it. We can hear the thud over here. And Bruce Pearl's the first guy out there before the coaches or the trainers. Chad Newman, the trainer, out. He really hit the deck hard. He went up, tried a reverse layup, got the shot stuffed, and with it came the body shot heard round the arena. And we'll just take it back and let you see it and listen.
The left wrist and shoulder took the blunt of the blow for Smith, and he laid there for quite a while in a lot of pain.
Jawan, a cousin of former Volunteers, Vince Yarborough and Del Baker, and he's up walking off on his own. That was a tough landing. Way up and way down as Robert Dozier met him in midair. I'm glad the landings out at Knoxville Airport are smoother than that.
4 minutes to go. Down 13 is Memphis. They need back-to-back 2-minute flurries right now.
It's got to start with defensive stops right now, the Volunteers. Meanwhile, Tennessee is thinking, use some clock, get a good shot, or get fouled. There's the overplay. Now Bradshaw's going to drive, try to score. Well, they got the stop. Back come the Tigers. They've got numbers. Allen's going to kick it out. Kemp for 3. That was a big shot, and it didn't go.
They had their non-proven shooting threat taking a shot.
Lofton, career high right there with a 3. 34 for Chris Lofton. Well, we saw his previous career high in Athens, Georgia last year, Jimmy, at 33, and we've seen one better tonight. And I don't know if we'll see one better than this all year. A lot of emotion between these two teams. The fans, 19,000 plus in Knoxville, welcomed their Warriors into Thompson Bowling Arena, and then Chris Lofton took over the show. along with Dane Bradshaw and company. They've led throughout the game. It's showtime in Knoxville. 70-56 Volunteer.
Utah and Utah State. Chad Spicer hits the three for the Aggies. That proved to be the game winner. They take it 60-57, 41 straight non-conference home wins now for Utah State. That's the second longest streak in the nation behind Duke, which won tonight. Oklahoma had the nation's longest streak end this evening as they fell at home to Villanova. Guys?
All right, Dave. Well, all the spice in this one is in the person of number 5. Chris Lofton, a career high. 6 3-pointers tonight, good for 34, 12 of 17 from the floor. And he is one better than the 33 points he put up against Georgia last year over in Athens. At the free throw line, Jordan Howe. 1 3-pointer for Jordan tonight. He missed the first month of practice. He had a broken bone in his shooting hand. Kind of slowed down things at the beginning. And I mentioned earlier now that he's taken over the point guard spot. The turnovers are down significantly for Tennessee. He tacks on 2 more. 16-point lead with 3 minutes and 10 seconds remaining.
What he did for his ball club tonight, Hal, he didn't beat Memphis, but he also didn't beat Tennessee. And that's, you can describe a lot of quarterbacks like that as well. Just win for you. Find a way to win. What do All-Americans do? In big games, they hit big shots, they show guts, they show toughness. All the things Chris Lofton did tonight in this ball game.
Duke Cruz, 9 for him as he cruised under the basket with a reverse layup. And now it's just a matter of how many Tennessee wins by. And it'll make it even better next year when they get together, because Memphis won't forget this one for a while. Neither will these fans. Everybody up now as we approach the 2-minute mark.
Go back to Chris Lofton when he was recruited in high school, and there was a bunch of them that missed on him. Not just Louisville and Kentucky, a plethora of assistant coaches rattled through and watched this guy shoot the basketball in high school, but they came away thinking, yeah, but he doesn't handle it really well. He's not a great setup guard. He doesn't have jet quickness. And again, overlook the blemish sometimes and concentrate on what he can do.
He's done it all tonight.
Yes, he has.
Bradshaw, another tough rebound.
He stayed patient because the game was at a frenetic pace back and forth. But once he gets the ball in his hands, see how the game kind of slows down for him? You don't get him out of the speed and the pace that he wants to play. That's why he put up huge numbers.
Bradshaw from the elbow, just kind of I'm going to get rid of this thing off the glass, and he knocks it in.
No one played with a bigger grudge in a rivalry game than Bradshaw, again from Memphis, playing for Tennessee.
Here's Lofton. He's going to pull it out. He knows the ball game's over. The damage has been done. He doesn't have to add anything to his resume tonight, that's for sure. You got to wonder if somewhere in this country, or maybe out of the country, watching on ESPN2, George Clooney is going, you know what? I was big in Maysville, Kentucky until this kid came along. Rosemary Clooney was big in Maysville, Kentucky until this kid came along. That almost went from about 28 feet. And we're down to the final half minute of the ball game.
You know what else he's done tonight? It's a great lesson for younger players. The longer you play the game, the slower the game becomes, and that's what Lofton did tonight in a frenetic pace. All these guys right here coming into this week, what do they have in common? They have all shot over 50% from the field from the three-point line and all making over 3 a ball game. Chris Lofton is right there with them in that kind of a category as far as best shooters in the nation right now.
And over 19,000 up as Chris comes off. And the same hand goes to Dane Bradshaw. Gets a big hug from his coach in the final 40 seconds. Well, this is obviously the biggest win of the year for Tennessee. And if they play like this, there's going to be a lot more of them. Memphis will have better nights, as they're going to fall to 6-2. Tennessee will go to 7-2. And again, Tennessee doesn't leave the state all the way until about January 9th. So the home cooking's been good to them tonight. And the big smile on everybody's face, wearing white and orange, and some long faces on the Tigers of Memphis.
I know it's December the 6th, but on Tennessee's resume right now, Bruce Pearl can highlight the score in this ball game and save it come March. Quality win for the Tennessee Vols in a packed-out building.
And there was never a doubt. They trailed early 5-0 to the Tigers and came storming back, led by that young man with 34, a career high. And Bruce Pearl's team goes to 7-2. Tennessee wins it 76-58 is the final. That's going to do it for us. Great night for Chris Lofton, the best he's ever had, and it's the best we've seen so far in this early college basketball season. That'll wrap it up for our ESPN2 crew and Jimmy Dykes. Brad Nessler saying so long from Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's been a presentation of ESPN2, worldwide leader in sports. Quite Frankly, with Stephen A. Smith, is coming up next, and quite frankly, Chris Lofton was special tonight.